Hi, so today I'm going to go through the paper 2 of the Maths 2024 May-June paper. Okay, so number 1, calculate the value of the square root of 7.1 squared plus 2.9 squared. Right, so again, for maths, we have to work out those squares first. We add them together and then we find the square root, right? They want the answer to two significant figures and then two decimal places. So let's go. So we are going to 7.1 squared, so you're going straight to your calculators, right? You're going to put 7.1 squared. That's going to give you 50.41, right? And we have 2.9 squared plus 8.41, right? We add them together. And it's the square root of 58.82, right? Again, we go to our calculators, we find the square root of that. You're getting 7.669. Right, the question asks us just two significant figures. So you want the two first numbers of significance. That's 7.6. And we look at the third number, it's greater than 5, so we round up 7.7. Two decimal places, that's numbers after the decimal point. So we're going to look at the first two numbers after the points. We have 6, right? Again, we look at the third number, it's 9, so it's greater than 5, so we round up, right? So that will be 7.67. Right, the following quantities in ascending order, right? So we want it from the smallest to the largest. So we have 0.46, 47%. 47% as a decimal, 0.47. So let's just see what 12/25 is as a decimal. And remember, a fraction is basically division. So 12 divided by 25, that's 0.48. So 12/25 is 0.48, right? So right there you can see in ascending order, we would have 0.46. Then we would have 47%, which is 0.47. And then we would have our 0.48. Okay, so let us go on to second page. Mahendra and Jaya, they shared $7,224 in the ratio 7:5. How much more money does Mahendra receive than Jaya? So I'm going to show you all two ways to work it. Of course, one way is a shorter way, but some students tend to process things differently, right? So I like to give all the options, right? So the short way, how much more money? So they want to know what's the difference, right? So the difference between the ratios, we have 7 and 5. So 7 minus 5, that difference is 2. Right? So the difference would be 2 out of how many parts we have in total? 7 plus 5, we have 12 parts in total, right? Right, so we have 12 parts in total. So 2 out of the 12 parts multiplied by the amount of money that was shared, which is 7,224. Right, again, we go into our calculators. And that's going to give us $1,204. So that's how much more money Mahendra would receive. We could also work this the longer way, right? So we could find out how much money Mahendra receives, how much money Jia receives, and then we find the difference, right? So how much money does Mahendra receive? Mahendra gets 7 out of 12. And Jia is going to get 5 out of 12. Right, so let's see how much they both have. Right, so that's 4,214. And that is $3,010, right? So the difference, how much more money does she get? The difference will be 4212 minus 3010, and it should get the same answer. Oops, 4214. Right, $1,004. $1,204, sorry. The present population of Portsmouth is 550,000. It's expected that the population will increase by 42% by the year 2030. They want to write this in standard form, right? So we write in standard form, we move in the decimal point to have one integer in front of it, and then we're going to multiply by power of 10, right? So if I move that point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to move 5 times. So I'm going to have 5.5, right? Those zeros, no value. How many times the point move? It move 5 times. So the power, going to multiply by 10 to the power of 5. The point moves to the left. When the point moves to the left, the power remains positive, right? So we're done there. Calculate the expected population of Portsmouth in 2030. Again, 2 ways I'll show you how to work this. We have that short way, which I would expect that's we would aim to do, right? So the population is expected to increase by 42%. So it's going to go up to 142%, right? So the population in 2030 would be 142% of 550, right? You plug that in your calculators. 55. Right, you get 781,000. Right, again, some students may want to do it the longer way. It just processes better in their mind, and that's fine. Just remember your time. So you can find the increase in the population, which would be 42% of the population, 550,000. Right, we go to our calculators. That is 231,000. Right, so the increase, we have to add it, 550 plus that's 231, right? And when we add that, 5 and 3 is 8, 5 and 2 is 7. So you see we get back the same 781,000 is that increase in the population. So now we have a graph. It's used to convert between US and EC dollars, right? Using the graph, convert $2 US to EC. Okay, so we're going on the graph and we're looking for where $2 US lies. So let me just zoom in so it's a bit clearer, right? So we're looking for where we have 2 US, right? And this is where 2 US lies. Let me just change the color so that it can see it a little more, right? And we're going to see where exactly that touches the graph. And we're going to draw a vertical line coming down. Right? And right where it lands on the EC, on the axis with EC, that is where that amount will be. Of course, you have to do an estimating. How will we do the estimating? Right? We're going to look to see how much spaces we have in between the numbers. We have 5 spaces as we know, right? So if we have those 5 spaces, and again, we just have, it's just one number in between. It's from 5 to 6, right? So we're going to divide that up. We're going to have 2 per stroke, right? So that is 5.2, 5.4, 0.6, 0.8, and then we come to the whole, which will bring us to 6, right? So if I were to estimate, and if I estimated correctly here, this looks like about 5.2, right? So that's about EC 520. Right? It could probably be 540 too. Let me just erase this. It could actually be 540, you know. Right? So that's we go with 540. Right. Just change back the color. Next, convert 70 EC to US dollars. Right? So 70 EC. So if we look on the graph, we don't have 70 EC on the graph. It just stops at 10. Right? What I would do, however, is I would look for a point that's actually flush, and I would use that to make my conversion rates, and then just multiply to find out how much the 70 EC is going to be, right? The point that I see that is flush on the both x and the y-axis is right here, right? So you see that point there. So at that point, I am seeing that 3 US is equal to 8 EC, right? So I'm gonna do the working right here, right? So turn back this pen. Right, so EC 8 is equal to US 3, right? We see that from the graph. Right, so how much would 1 EC be? So 1 EC is going to be 3 US over 8, right? We divide. So therefore, the question asks us for 70 EC. So 70 EC, 70 EC is going to be 3 over 8, which is 1 multiplied by 70, right? We go in our calculator. Right, that is 26.25 US. Right, don't forget to put your US. Laura, let's just zoom back out. Laura needs to put mesh around 2 seedbeds to protect her ceilings. Altogether, she uses 60 meters of mesh. One of the seedbeds is a rectangle, the other one is a square, shown in the diagram below. So the width of the rectangular seedbed is in X meters. So we're seeing that here. Right, the length of the rectangular bed is 3 times the width. So the length of the bed will be 3 times width. So that's 3x, right? The length of a side of the square bed is y meters. So we see that there. Using the information given above, derive a simplified expression for y in terms of x. Right? So a simplified expression for y in terms of x. So how are we going to do that, right? Well, they said that she put a mesh around the 2 of them, around this whole seed bed here and this one, right? And the total of the mesh for the 2 of them is equal to 60. So if I total the perimeter of the rectangle and the square, I'm supposed to get 60. And that is your expression. You just have to simplify it, right? So let's do the long, nice way. So the perimeter of the rectangle, that will be 3x plus 3x, because it's 2, plus x, right? 2 widths, plus we have y plus y plus y plus y, 4 y's, right? So I'm just going to write out the whole thing just so you could see, right? Right, this is just for clarity, but of course, you should get to that point where when you're writing all of these y's, we know that's 4y, right? So let's go. So again, this is the 3x. This side will be 3x as well. The left is x, the right is x. So we have that here, plus the 4y for the square. Now we have to simplify. Remember, all like terms could be simplified together. Oh, let's not forget to put equals to 60. All right? So 3x, 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. So we have 8x plus 4y is equal to 60. They said that they want the expression in terms, expression 4y in terms of x, right? So y has to be the subject because it's 4y. So let's make y the subject. How do you make the subject of the formula? We're going to carry over everything else until we have the subject by itself on one side of the equal sign, right? So we have to carry over the 8x. So I'm going to have 4y is equal to 60. The operation is going to change. This is plus 8x. When it goes over, it's going to become minus 8x, right? What's up with this pen? Come, pen, don't give trouble now. Minus, let's use this other pen. Minus 8x, right? So we still need to make y the subject of the formula, so we have to carry over 4. 4 is being multiplied to y right now. When it goes over, it's going to become division. So we have, why is my pen on eraser? It's erasing everything. 1 second. Okay, so back to what I was doing. So we have 4y is equal to 60. We carry the 8 over, it becomes minus 8x. 4 is being multiplied, that goes over, it becomes division, right? So y is equal to 4. We have to divide the two parts of the numerator. 4 into 4, 1. 4 into 60, that's 15. 4 into 8 is 2. Right? So y is equal to 15 minus 2x. Okay, so that was a lot of work for 2 marks, but so it does go sometimes. Okay, so the area of the rectangular seedbed is equal to the area of the square seedbed. We're going to use that information and the information in the answer above in part A to write down a quadratic equation in terms of x. And we have to simplify it to what we have here, all right? So the area of a rectangle, side, length by breadth. So that would be 3x by x, right? And they say that is equal to the area of the square, which is side squared, so that will be y squared, right? Now, the information in part A, it tells us that the value of y, or y, is equal to 15 minus 2x. So we're going to substitute that into this equation, right? So 3x squared is equal to 15 minus x, 2x, multiplied by 15 minus 2x, because we're squaring it, right? So now let's expand those brackets. 3x squared is equal to 15 by 15 is 225. 15 multiplied by negative 2 is negative 30x. Again, 15 by negative 2x minus 30x. And then we have last, negative 2x by negative 2x, that'll be positive 4x squared, right? We're going to make this quadratic and simplify. We want the coefficient in the first term to be positive, which will be the x squared. So when I look at it, I'll carry that 3x over, right? So I'll have 0 on this side is equal to 225 minus 30x plus 4x squared. And we carry that 3 over, it's going to become minus 3x squared. So we can simplify, like terms could be simplified together, right? So 0 is equal to 225 minus 30 will give you minus 60x. 4 minus 3 will give you 1, right? So that is plus x squared, right? So there we have it. We could just write it over, right? In the form x squared minus 60x plus 225. We just change up the order. So that it is in the form, the quadratic form, that is, right? Now, they want us to solve this using the quadratic formula, right? So what is the quadratic formula? Let's write that down. It's at the front of the booklet if you can remember, right? So that is x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Yeah, looks correct. What we have to do is substitute. So we're going to substitute the value of A, B, and C into this formula, and we solve. We have a calculator, so no issues here, right? So X is equal to B. And this is a problem that I see a lot of students doing. When B is negative, we tend to put minus 60, and we leave it there. But that's not correct. Remember, B is negative, and the formula is minus B. So that has to be minus whatever B is. So it's minus 60, right? So don't forget that. Minus 60 plus or minus B, again, which is minus 60 squared minus 4 multiplied by A, which is 1, multiplied by C, which is 225. All over 2 by 1, because A is 1. Right, we continue simplifying. X is equal to a negative by negative will be positive. So this turns into positive 60 plus or minus the square root of 6. 6 is at 36. So that's 3600. Go to your calculator. Negative 4 by 225. That is 900 all over 2. Right, we continue simplifying. X is equal to 60 plus or minus 3600 minus 900, that's 2700 over 2. X is equal to 60 plus or minus the square root of 2700. Right, calculators. Right, that is 51.96 all over 2. Yeah. So now we can split this. X is equal to 60 plus 51.96 divided by 2. Or X is equal to 60 minus 51.96 divided by 2. Calculator time. So 60 plus 51.96 divided by 2. X is equal to 55.98 or 60 minus 51.96 divided by 2, 4.02. So X is equal to 55.98 or X is equal to 4.02. Ooh, that was a long one. Okay. 2 marks. Oh. Calculate the total area of the 2 seat beds, right? So let me just make this smaller out of the way. So I want the total area of the 2 seat beds. The total area, we know the formula for the area for the first one, which was 3x squared, right? So that is 3x squared, right? So line by breadth, 3x by x, so 3x squared, right? And the area for the square would be y squared. So that's y by y, right? So let us do the total area of, sorry, of these two seat beds. So remember we have two values for x because we did a quadratic. So we're not too sure which one it would be. So we're going to use the two values. We're going to substitute it and see which value of x we could actually use, right? So 3x squared plus y squared, right? So remember y, as we said before, y from this part of the question is equal to 15 minus 2x. So let us see if we can solve and see what the value of y is by substituting x into that expression. So let me do it here. Y is equal to 15 minus 2x, right? So let's put 55.98. So y will be equal to 15 minus 2 by 55.98. Right, so right off the bat, we can tell that this would not work because 2 by 55.98 will give you a greater number than 15, right? So that would be 55.98 multiplied by 2. So y will be equal to 15 minus 111.96. And that's going to give you a negative value. We can't have a negative value, right? Has to be positive. You can have a negative area. Right? So therefore, we're not going to use 55.98. Let's try it with 4.02. So y is equal to 15 minus 2 by 4.02. It already looks pretty normal here, right? That will be 8. Y is equal to 15 minus 8.04, right? 15 minus 8.04. That's 6.96. Right. So y is equal to 6.96. So we have that. So then therefore, 3x squared plus y squared, remember that is the area of the two seat beds, right? So we have the value of y. We're just going to put that into our equation now and our formula now. We're going to basically find that total area. So 3 multiplied by x, which is the 4.02 squared plus y squared, which is 6.96. We just found out that squared, right? So we're going to our calculator, 4.02 squared. Oops, 4.02 squared. Right, so that is 3 multiplied by 16.16 plus 6.96 squared. That is 48.44. Just round into 2 decimal places. right? We just plug this whole thing in the calculator. 16.16 multiplied by 3. And we're going to add that to 48.44. And we get 96.92. Did they tell us to round? No, so 96.92 meters. Right, so don't forget your terms, right? This will be meters squared. Right?